Jets, I hear them say it now.
Jets, white, green, just green and white. Tell me, have you ever seen a team take flight? Super Bowl dreams are still in sight. All we gotta do is win tonight. White, green, just green and white. Tell me, have you ever seen a team take flight? Super Bowl dreams are still in sight. All we gotta do is win.
What is going on, YouTube? Welcome back for another video. Sorry my camera looks so terrible because my 4K camera just, decided to shit the bed. But here we are, schedule release. As always, Joe Scurto, your host. Subscribe to the channel if you have not already. Like the video if you actually liked it. Follow me on Instagram and on X at Turn Up the Jets, all one word. Appreciate all the support. I have to get into it. Schedule release. It all came out yesterday, kind of leaking throughout the day. We found out a day before yesterday that the Jets were, playing Monday Night Football. Holy shit. We'll get into everything. I don't know if I'm going to do a prediction. It's just, it's kind of crazy to do one. I think I did one last year in my schedule release video, a really quick one. But I think I'm going to forget about that. So further ado, let's take a look at the schedule. I tried 35 minutes to try to get a picture and me on the screen at the same time, and it's still not working. Somebody who is more tech savvy than me, please let me know what I'm screwing up, because obviously I'm screwing up something. But yeah, this looks shitty, but here we are. At least you don't really have to look at my ugly face and my terrible camera. I'll stop spewing. So the New York Jets coming into 2024, and we see it. We got it announced a day earlier that 49ers will be hosting the New York Jets Week 1 Monday Night Football, September 9th. Of course, we know what happened last year, September 11th. It was Monday Night Football, Week 1 against the Bills. The Jets were hosting. I don't really care that the Jets aren't home, and I don't really care that the Jets are playing the San Francisco 49ers. I kind of low-key hate or high-key hate that they're playing on Monday Night Football again. I mean, it's just I'm a superstitious person. I believe in deja vu, and I'm not saying anything. I'm not thinking the worst. I'm not trying to be negative, everybody. It's just I mean, Monday Night Football again, really? Like, come on. Can we get any better than that? But I don't care about facing the 49ers. If anyone's complaining, I mean, like, do you really believe that this team's going to be good? If you're complaining they're playing Week 1, I mean, we're really going to get a test, and we're really going to see how good this team is and how good this team really can be. I mean, they have the hardest team in their entire schedule Week 1. This is arguably the best team in the NFC, the second best team in the NFL. They just won the NFC Championship. They nearly won the Super Bowl last season. They've been basically contenders since Kyle Shanahan stepped foot. You got the Robert Saleh revenge game going to San Francisco, Santa Clara for the first time since being the Jets head coach and leaving as the DC over there in San Francisco. They got to a Super Bowl with Saleh as well, of course. And then it's Aaron Rodgers going back to his home state of California, the team that passed up on him and drafted Alex Smith. And now he can get his revenge again. We'll see. They played many times before. They really had Rodgers' number more so in the playoffs, but Rodgers is undefeated in Monday Night Football games. That even includes last year. So this will be a tough game, but I love the test. Again, I wish it was a Sunday night game or a Sunday at 4:25. I'm really not super into that. It's a Monday, but I'm not going to complain. It is what it is, but we'll see. I mean, that's really the thing. I mean, I'm pumped that they're playing in San Francisco. Unfortunately, I probably won't be able to make that Week 1. Of course, I was there last year. It was miserable, but it was cool at the same time. It was the most insane experience I've ever had. But fortunately, I won't be able to get to San Francisco. But I'm looking forward to it. I think this is going to be a real test for the Jets, a really good defensive front for the 49ers, a really good defensive front for the Jets. And these teams match up very well, I would say. If the Jets offense can really exceed expectations and do what we think they can, then I think they can go toe to toe. Am I going to throw out there and say they're going to win and blah, blah, blah? No, I mean, it's May. The prediction doesn't even matter in May. The prediction won't even matter before Week 1. Like, we don't know what these teams are going to look like. I think they will be kind of vulnerable. The 49ers, I mean, usually these really good teams, the Chiefs lost Week 1 last year after they raised their banner, and then they collected another one at the end of the year. So it doesn't really matter. for these really good teams. So if you want to play the 49ers, honestly, I would prefer to play them first. You get them out of the way, and they really haven't found their groove yet. Week 2, so I think the Jets got screwed here. If you just look at it, I mean, 6 primetime games, 7 standalone when you count the London game on October 6th, week 5 against the Vikings. They have 2 short weeks going Sunday to Thursday from the start of the season to October 31st. You know, it's just absolutely insane. They're the first team to have 6 primetime games in the first 11 of the season. I think they're just overdoing it here. And it sucks that they have so many short weeks, like 2 weeks. Like, look at this. They go Monday night and then Sunday night to Tennessee, and then a short week on Thursday night. 2 weeks later, they go to London. And then 3 weeks later, they do the same thing. They go Sunday, short week, go Thursday against the Texans. I am happy that most of these games, the 4 primetime games out of the 6, are at home. So I can't really complain. At San Francisco, at Pittsburgh are the only primetime games, of course, on Monday night and Sunday night. The rest in MetLife. And then obviously, it's basically not a road. I guess it's a road game for both teams on October 6th when they go to London. There's really no home field advantage, obviously. But I heard the Jets do have a really good, crowd over there in London. Like I think they have diehard fans over there. So I hope to see maybe we do get the home field advantage. But the short weeks, just shoving, prime time down your throat. I love, the recognition that this team is getting. It's, of course, because of number 8. And I think the anticipation is probably bigger than it was even last year because 4 plays, boom, done. And now the Jets look even better. And I would say by a pretty good margin on paper this year than they did last year. A better offensive line. Their defense is basically complete. They had 2 really good weapons in Corley and Williams. Another year, Brees is out of surgery. Looking pretty good on paper, but on paper is on paper. But they go to Nashville anyway, week 2 against the Titans. Will Levis, that's an interesting team. I really liked what they did in the offseason. I mean, they finally spent money. They are getting older players, but I mean, they look pretty good on paper. Behind Levis, you got Hopkins, Ridley, and Tyler Boyd. That sounds like a really good Madden wide receiver trio, but it could become a reality in real life that it could be a really good trio in 2024 for the Titans because they're giving their guy weapons, and I think that's really important. And then you got Tony Pollard comes in for Derrick Henry. I really like what they did, and they obviously got L'Jarius Sneed as well, traded for him and then signed him. They definitely are a lot better than they were last year. I don't think this is a cupcake game by any means, especially on the road and having another short week. After that, you have another short week. You go to back to New York, home opener against New England Patriots on Thursday Night Football. Wish their home opener was on a Sunday, but I can't complain. New England, New York, I expect Jacoby Brissett to play. I don't expect to see the rookie Drake May. Patriots, obviously a rebuilding team. The Jets should win this game. But they do have a really good defense, but there's no more Bill Belichick, and I think the Jets fans will be very happy that is no more Bill Belichick because no matter what his team was, they couldn't score against his defenses. Now it's going to be a completely different show, a lot of new players. They draft 2 receivers. They obviously have Drake May, but I don't expect him to be over there behind center in week 3 unless something crazy happens. But that's their home opener. And then you go week 4, the Aaron Rodgers gets his revenge on Sean Payton defending his boy Nathaniel Hackett. Who knows if we see Zach Wilson? I don't think so. I feel like Bo Nix is going to be the week 1 starter. No doubt about it. I know Sean Payton is gushing about this dude. Expect the Broncos to be better, even though they have no Jerry Jeudy. They're going to be having to hope that Cortland Sutton is going to get his money and he's going to play because he's not even there in the workouts. Yeah, they're optional, but still kind of concerning. But and aren't we happy that the Jets are hosting Denver for once now? The last 2 years, they've been in Mile High. We all know 2 years ago, they lose Brees in AVT. Last year, they lose AVT again And I know AVT probably is so happy that they are playing against the Broncos at home. But I think anyone would probably wouldn't want to play the Broncos at all. Maybe the Broncos are just cursed because it's not like the MetLife turf is any better. It's arguably worse. It is worse. It's the worst in the league. But another winnable game here. So like, I don't hate the teams they're playing. I just hate the format of the schedule. Like San Francisco, of course, that's the most challenging team, most challenging game on the schedule, especially on the road on Monday night. But then Tennessee, New England, Denver, these are winnable games. And here's another one in Minnesota against Minnesota in London. And I expect Sam Darnold to play here. I'd be shocked if JJ McCarthy is playing. And it's kind of interesting. They're back-to-back first-round quarterbacks, back-to-back, actually. Wow, I didn't realize that. Drake May, Bo Nix, JJ McCarthy. I think Bo Nix will be the only one to start out of those three. That's at least what I'm expecting, because you get bridge quarterbacks with Brissett and Darnold, and there's a reason why they paid those guys a little more than you normally would for a backup, because they're going to play. They're going to be a bridge starter until those rookies kind of develop, and I think, both of them are kind of developed projects in regards to May and JJ. This is a really good Vikings team, though, a really good defense now. Ever since Flores went over there, he revamped that entire defense. They have a really good offensive line, 2 really good tackles, 2 really good wide receivers. It'd be interesting if Jefferson gets his money or not. I think he will. Hawkinson will be out for basically the entire year. They get Aaron Jones. This is a really good team. This is going to be a really challenging game, in my opinion, but still winnable, in my opinion. For some reason, they don't elect to get the bye week. I know they really like the late buys, and they were mad last year that they had the early bye. And it kind of sucked because they were 3-3. They were finally grooving a little bit, and then they had the bye, and the rest was history after that Giants game. The Jets defense was god awful. But they go back home to MetLife Monday night against the Buffalo Bills. Another Monday Night Football game. Hopefully this is Rodgers' revenge here. Kind of the same setting, but on week 6. Bills lost a lot of players, but they kind of revamped a bit. They're slowly but surely. They got Keon Coleman over there, Curtis Samuel. They just signed MVS. I have no idea. That Mac Hollins, also they signed him. They got Shakir coming back from last season. I think he could be a pretty solid, at least number 3. But this is going to be interesting. They lost a lot of guys over there in the defense, but it's still the Buffalo Bills. They've still won it 4 years in a row, and they're still the team to beat in the AFCs. I don't care what you say. On paper is on paper. Are the Jets the best team on paper? Probably, but it doesn't mean anything. The Bills are still the team to beat. This is a must-win game for the Jets, in my opinion. Right after that, another primetime game, Sunday night, Steelers. Very interesting. I've said interesting 85 times, but I get it. A lot of these games are interesting. Russell Wilson, Justin Fields, who the hell is going to start? I don't know. I really don't. Probably Russell Wilson, but this is the last primetime game they have on the road. It's a hard road environment. They haven't went to Heinz Field in a long time. I don't really even remember the last time they've been to Heinz Field. Someone maybe remind me. I can't remember on the top of my head. But this is a really good Pittsburgh defense, of course, especially if TJ Watt is leading the way. A well-coached team, offensive line good enough, really good run game. George Pickens is very talented. Freiermuth is very talented. This is also going to be a tough game, mainly just because it's on the road, and all the eyes are on you. You then go back, stay on the road, go to New England against the Patriots October 27th. I said what I said for the week 3 matchup against this Patriots team. The Jets have no excuse not to beat them twice. Last time they beat them twice probably was 20 years ago. And I think this year better and should be the time to do it. Short week again, hosting the Texans, probably one of the most hyped up teams this year, and deservingly so. Overperformed last year, went to the divisional round, fell short, pretty short by a large margin, but against the Baltimore Ravens, who were a couple of mistakes away of representing the AFC in the Super Bowl. But CJ Stroud gets some new weapons. They add Stephon Diggs. They add Joe Mixon. Daniel Hunter comes in and is really a key piece now to that defensive line. The defense is really good. D'Amico Ryans knows how to coach a team. Ryans versus Saleh would be pretty cool because Saleh was kind of a mentor for Ryans. And then when he left, he was the successor of Saleh for the DC job. A couple years later, he then is now the head coach of the Houston Texans. So they got the Texans now. This is going to be a very difficult game. This is a game I can see them dropping. I think the Texans are for real. Maybe getting a little too much hype, but they won the division last year and they had the second pick of the NFL draft. Like with one of the youngest teams, with a rookie quarterback, with a rookie head coach, I think CJ Stroud is the real deal. This is a chance for him to be like almost a top 5, top 7 quarterback. He has the talent. He now has the weapons. They have a 3-headed monster with, Tank Dell should be back, Nico Collins, both very good years last year. And then you had a freak of nature like Stephon Diggs. I will be kind of intrigued to see how that marriage works out. Following that, November 10th, you go to Arizona for a 425 game. A very few of those 425s. I believe that's the only 425 game they have all year. They very well could get flexed if things are looking up for the Jets. This is a game that they absolutely should win. Cardinals very young. Again, they played tough. They played some good teams tough at the end of the year. They even beat the Eagles. It is a fiery team. This is a team you cannot take lightly because they are young, energetic, and now you add Marvin Harrison to the mix. It could be a trap game, but I don't think it should be. And then another, but the last, the last primetime game, Week 11 against the Colts right before the bye week. I love that they have the Week 12 bye. They deserve the late bye, and they wanted the late bye. That's why they're not playing after London. Even though Week 6 isn't terrible, but Week 12, if you're rolling, it's going to be nice to kind of relax. But this Colts game with Anthony Richardson, this is another team. It reminds you of the Titans. I mean, they were one drop pass away for winning the division, and then we're not even really talking about the Texans at all because they don't win a playoff game and they don't have as much hype going into it this year. They still would have, but not as much as they did because the Colts blew it. Anthony Richardson, they got Joe Flacco. Richardson should be the starter. Very hoping to see a healthy year for him because he's just a freak of nature. But this is another really good team. I think Steichen is the real deal. He knows how to call an offense. And you saw the Eagles struggled offensively last year, and the Colts were good offensively with Gardner Minshew. So that just says it itself. Their defense is solid. I love that this game is home. Jets should win this game too. Bye week, stay at home. So 3 out of the, 3 out of the last 4 games are at home in this like late stretch, which I really like. Seattle, it's going to be a Geno Smith revenge game against the Jets. That will be cool in New York. That's probably going to be the talk of the town here, that everyone's going to, Geno's coming back here to New York for the first time to face the Jets. And Seattle is just, I don't know. I can't really, they're an unknown for me. They have the talent, but I don't know how much they've really done. A new coach, no Pete. He is now obviously parted ways with him. December 1st, I have no idea what Seattle's going to look like, so I can't even give you an opinion. I mean, we have no idea what the Jets are going to look like, but Seattle is just, they're kind of unknown to me. But right now in May, I see them as that's a beatable game, winnable game. And then you go to the road, back-to-back weeks in Florida. You stay in Florida. I don't hate that. The Miami Dolphins, week 14. The Jacksonville Jaguars, week 15. They don't play the Dolphins until week 14 and 18. That is really odd. Usually they do get Miami, in December in Miami. That happens a lot. But I feel like most of the time they got Miami somewhere sprinkled at the top of the schedule. But they actually play them twice in the last 5 games. So those could be crucial games. Miami, they lost some, they gained some. I really didn't, I still think this is a really good team on paper, especially offensively, as long as Tua is healthy. I think they're very dangerous. Their defense could improve. I like the Vic Fangio pickup. And I guess we'll have to see what they – wait, is it Nick Fangio? They got Fangio, right? Or am I – oh, no. Fangio left. That's my mistake. He's in Philadelphia. Who did the Dolphins get? Dolphins hire Ravens assistant Anthony Weaver. Okay, that's my mistake. because as soon as I said that, I was like, that's not right. That sounds like last year. The Fangio thing was a disaster. That's right. But yeah, new defensive coordinator. If this defense could perform better than it did last year, they're really good, and especially it's going to be nice weather. So we know how good they are in the nice weather, and I do love that the Dolphins come to New York Week 18 because they're not good in the cold. Jacksonville, get a look at Trevor Lawrence. Jacksonville, that whole AFC West, like outside the Texans, you got the Titans, the Jaguars, and the Colts. I feel it's the same with all three of these teams. Like, on paper, they're good. I mean, I think all four of those AFC South teams, believe it or not, never thought I'd say that, are going to be competitive. Jaguars were the number one seed, like, after the halfway mark, and then they just fell apart. Trevor Lawrence was clearly hurt, underperformed massively. I expect him to have a bounce back year. I'm not sure how high I am on him anymore, but Malik Neighbors over there is going to be. I'm sorry, Brian Thomas Jr. is going to be killer over there from LSU. Of course, Malik Neighbors is a teammate that replaced him with Ridley. I think that is honestly an upgrade, even though more so because the price of the player. I mean, Thomas could be very, very good. He's going to be very, very cheap, and we all know Ridley got the bag. Then you go back home, December 22nd. It's the Rams, and then the Bills, and then the Dolphins. Talked already about the Bills and the Dolphins. Of course, you got to go to Buffalo, but the Rams, I expect the Rams to be a very good team as long as Stafford is healthy. It's almost the same as the Dolphins for me. Very good on paper. Absolutely loaded on the offensive side. You lose Aaron Donald, but this is still a pretty good defensive unit. Any team that Sean McVay coaches has to be treated as a threat, and I do think they're going to be a threat, and I think they have a shot to compete with the Niners for that division. I'm not saying they're going to win it. I would predict right now that the Niners would win the division and still going to be probably the best team in the NFC. But I do think the Rams are going to be really good, and they're going to be a scary wild card. They came very close to beating the Lions last season. So there it is, the New York Jets schedule. Again, I don't – the end of the stretch is tough, but the beginning schedule is nothing like last year. Last year was an absolute gauntlet. The Jets overperformed, and they overperformed the year before too, 5-2, then 4-3, and then they fell off. So then they play this time it's a little different. They play the winnable games, and then they play the tougher teams as we move forward. Got to stay healthy. That's the name of the game. Predictions don't matter right now. I'm just happy the schedule's out. Could start planning to go see games, and we'll take it from there. Football season is coming very shortly. I think it's like 100 and something days till Monday Night Football. So hang tight. I'll be making plenty more content. Appreciate everyone watching. Subscribe to the channel if you have not already. Like the video if you actually liked it. Follow me on Instagram. Follow me on X @TurnUpJets. All one word. Until next time. See ya.
Jets, I hear them say it now.
Jets, white, green, just green and white. Tell me, have you ever seen a team take flight? Super Bowl dreams are